All right, next we're thinking about religion as a social institution. We're calling that a social institution is an arrangement of uh, roles and positions and relations that serve a basic social need. So in this module, we'll look at religions and rituals, particularly the sociological definition of religion, and then we'll look at world religion and some ways in which we distinguish between these and the sociology of religion. Now, when we think about religion, we're often thinking about Christianity, Buddhism, um, Judaism, Islam. These are all what we call organized religions. We call them that because they have a set of values and practices and beliefs that are organized around a particular set of ideas. In sociology, however, the concept of religion goes a little bit beyond this. We're not mostly focused on, we do study organized religion a lot, but we're also interested in the broader function of religion and ritual more generally in society. So we have a kind of a more, what we might call more secular definition, meaning it's not tied to those particular transcendental experiences of the church. What does this mean? Well, religion is a set of values, beliefs, and practices that are oriented towards a certain set of sacred things, things that are held to be sacred. Now, in these organized religions, things that are held to be sacred are connected to the particular supernatural God that's part of it. For example, the cross is meant to be a sacred symbol of Jesus's dying on the cross. So it's connected to that particular idea. But in sociology, the sacred can actually go way beyond um, just organized religion. What makes something sacred is that it is connected to a kind of transcendental experience where we transcend or go above and beyond our everyday experience. Um, this is achieved often through ritualistic gatherings in which our connection to those around us and to the sacred makes us feel as though we've gone beyond the everyday. We have transcended. We have touched something different. Particularly, sociologist Emil Durkheim argues that this is achieved through rituals and the experience of collective effervescence. Now, what does that mean? Well, effervescence is that kind of means that kind of bubbly feeling that a soda, for example, is effervescent when you crack the lid and everything bubbles up. So what is collective effervescence? Well, it's that kind of bubbly, excited feeling we get when we're with others who are like us, when we are excited, we're sharing, we like the same things. This can happen, for example, at concerts. This can happen when fans gather together for conventions, for Star Wars or sci-fi conventions. Think about going to a sports game, perhaps. You are excited beforehand. You behave differently when you're with those other fans. You call out particular kinds of chants, go dogs, war eagle. These are all ways of creating a kind of sacred feeling. For a successful ritual, there are three things we argue that you need to have. One is physical gathering. This means that you're physically close to others. Bodily co-presence is important to feel others near you, to sense their energy. You have to have mutual focus of attention and entrainment, meaning that your feelings and your excitement is kind of linked to one another. We see this, for example, in chapel gatherings where a dynamic speaker is able to get the excitement and energy and attention of our fellow students. And if everyone's paying attention and is kind of paying attention to their voice, then people start to feel excited, they start to behave differently because they feel a certain energetic connection. Chants and phrases are often a part of this. Many of those speakers will say things like amen repeatedly to get people to respond, to make that sort of connection. And when it works, people feel a sense of connectedness, both to themselves and to the sacred space. Right? It's, again, a feeling of going beyond the everyday. It's a special feeling. We can imagine this perhaps at a concert that you enjoyed. You're gathering with other fans, you know the same songs, you perhaps have a name for yourselves as fans, and when the singer starts, everyone is in tune with that artist as they move through their songs. People may even know the words and shout them out. Everyone is feeling a sense of connectedness to one another, and Durkheim argues this is where the sense of the sacred comes from. Think about what a failed ritual might look like. If everyone's on their phone and not paying attention, if the speaker or artist isn't dynamic. This is why phones can make these kind of sacred rituals more difficult in this day and age. Perhaps you've been to a church service that was very boring to you because the speaker wasn't very good or the energy in the room was low. As opposed to a more dynamic experience. Fans feel this when they go to conventions. Dragon Con is a big convention that happens in Atlanta every summer where sci-fi nerds like myself get together and people are dressed in their finest, even if it's a costume. People have chants and phrases. They get excited. They feel a connection to other people who are like them because they share those same sacred sets of ideas. They love the same show. They know all the phrases and episodes. So even something like devotion to a show or an artist can be seen as sacred. And some people do devote a lot of their time to it. So again, the sacred is something that's set apart from the everyday, or what we call the profane. It's a transcendent experience, an exciting, bubbly experience. The function of this is to create a sense of society. Right? So if we think of the purpose of the institution of religion, even of religion not formally, it's to create a sense of shared identity, a shared togetherness, a shared sense of us. Durkheim ultimately argues even when we're worshiping in a church, what we're ultimately worshiping is that social collectiveness, that social collective effervescence, that feeling of being connected to others. In other words, that we're worshiping society.